Welcome, seekers of wisdom and inner strength. Today, we embark on a journey that stretches back over 2,000 years to an age when philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus walked the earth, contemplating the nature of human existence and the path to a life well lived. Their insights, rooted in the ancient philosophy of Stoicism, have stood the test of time, providing guidance for overcoming life's greatest challenges and achieving personal transformation. Imagine being able to navigate through the storms of life with a sense of calm that cannot be shaken. Picture yourself responding to setbacks with resilience, finding joy even amidst adversity, and living each day with a sense of purpose. This is not a fantasy. It is the promise of Stoicism. In today's world, where uncertainty and change seem to be the only constants, these teachings can become the anchor we all need. And in this video, we are not just going to talk about Stoicism as a theoretical concept. We will delve into 12 actionable principles that can immediately transform your life. Each principle will equip you with the tools to not just endure life, but to thrive in every moment. Why stay until the end? Because each of these principles is a stepping stone, building upon the previous one, guiding you step by step towards a life of virtue, peace, and resilience. Skipping any part would be like missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. By the time we reach the conclusion, you will have a complete picture of how to integrate Stoic wisdom into your daily life. So stay with me, and let's uncover the ancient secrets to transforming not just the way you think, but the way you live. 1. Focus on what you can control. Life often seems like an endless series of events beyond our control. How many times have you felt powerless, swept away by circumstances that you wish you could change but can't? Whether it's the weather ruining your plans, a colleague's rude behavior, or the chaos of traffic on your way to work, much of what we encounter daily lies outside our sphere of influence. Here, the wisdom of Stoicism teaches us one of its most empowering principles. Focus on what you can control. But what exactly does it mean to focus on what you can control? At its core, this principle reminds us to direct our energy towards our own thoughts, actions, and attitudes, rather than trying to bend the external world to our will. You see, the Stoics understood that while we may not be able to control every situation, we do possess the power to shape our responses to those situations. This distinction is crucial, for it shifts our focus from external events to our internal state of being. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about this for a moment. Can you recall a recent event that frustrated you? Perhaps you were stuck in traffic or dealing with a difficult person. Were you able to maintain your composure, or did the frustration get the better of you? The Stoic approach suggests that while we cannot change traffic, we can change how we respond to it. We can choose to use that time to listen to an audiobook, practice deep breathing, or even reflect on our thoughts. This simple shift in perspective not only reduces our stress, but also allows us to regain control over our emotions and, ultimately, our lives. How often do we expend our energy worrying about things that are completely outside our control? Stoicism encourages us to ask ourselves, is this within my power to change? If the answer is no, then why waste time and energy on it? Redirecting our focus to what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our responses, is liberating. It allows us to find strength in situations where we might otherwise feel powerless. Remember, this is not about ignoring problems or becoming indifferent. It's about wisely choosing where to invest your emotional and mental resources. When you focus on what you can control, you cultivate a mindset that is calm and resilient in the face of adversity. Ask yourself, the next time you feel stressed, pause and ask yourself, is this within my control? If it's not, let it go. If it is, take action. This mindset can transform your approach to life's challenges, big or small. 2. Embrace obstacles as opportunities. Life is full of obstacles, and no matter how hard we try, we cannot avoid them. Yet, the Stoics did not see obstacles as mere barriers to success. They viewed them as integral to the path itself. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What if you began to see each challenge not as a roadblock, but as a stepping stone? Every difficulty presents an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become stronger. How different would your life be if you stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and instead asked, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in mindset transforms how we face adversity. When you face a challenge, what is your initial reaction? Is it to avoid, complain, or retreat? These responses may be natural, but they are not the Stoic way. Stoicism teaches us to meet obstacles head-on, to see them as part of the process, not separate from it. It is in the struggle that we build our resilience. Think of a time when you faced a setback or failure. Did it ultimately make you stronger or teach you something valuable? If so, then the obstacle was not in vain. Stoicism invites us to view obstacles as opportunities for personal transformation. When you encounter difficulties, consider how they can make you wiser, more patient, or more courageous. This doesn't mean that challenges will be easy, but it does mean that they can be meaningful. The question is, are you willing to see beyond the immediate discomfort and recognize the lessons hidden within your struggles? Ask yourself, the next time you face an obstacle, pause and reframe your perspective. Ask yourself, how can this challenge help me grow? This simple question can change how you approach life's inevitable difficulties. 3. Live in the present moment. How often do you find your mind wandering away from the present moment? It's a common experience, whether we are reliving the past or worrying about the future. Yet the Stoics believed that true peace and contentment could only be found in the present. Living in the present moment means fully embracing what is happening right now, rather than being consumed by regrets over the past or anxieties about the future. Marcus Aurelius urged us to concentrate the mind on the present moment. This advice is as relevant today as it was in ancient Rome. Modern life, with its constant distractions and demands, makes it all too easy to lose touch with the here and now. When was the last time you truly experienced the present moment without your mind drifting away? Can you recall a time when you fully engaged with a task or enjoyed a moment of stillness? If so, you likely noticed a sense of peace and clarity. This is the gift of living in the present. But why is it so challenging to stay present? Our minds are often cluttered with thoughts about what has already happened or what might happen next. Stoicism offers a remedy by encouraging us to bring our focus back to the present. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain. The present is the only place where life happens. How can you practice living in the present? Start with mindfulness. When you eat, savor each bite. When you walk, feel the ground beneath your feet. When you speak with someone, listen without planning your response. These small acts of mindfulness help anchor you in the present, making life richer and more meaningful. Ask yourself, right now, where is your attention? Are you truly present, or is your mind wandering? Take a moment to bring yourself back to the present and see how it changes your experience. 4. Practice self-discipline. When you hear the term self-discipline, what comes to mind? Do you think of rigid routines, harsh restrictions, or a life devoid of pleasure? The Stoics viewed self-discipline not as a form of self-denial, but as a pathway to true freedom and empowerment. It is the ability to say no to distractions and impulses that do not serve your long-term goals and yes to the actions that align with your deepest values. Self-discipline is the mastery over one's desires, emotions, and actions. In Stoicism, this principle is about making choices that bring us closer to our best selves, even when those choices may not provide immediate gratification. Consider a moment in your life when you chose the path of least resistance, perhaps procrastinating on an important task, indulging in unhealthy habits, or spending time on meaningless activities. Did those choices bring you lasting fulfillment, or did they lead to regret? The Stoic approach to self-discipline is about creating a life that is guided by wisdom and virtue. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He understood that the true challenge lies in controlling our impulses, not in trying to control external circumstances. The mastery of our minds gives us the power to make deliberate choices that shape the quality of our lives. Think about the goals you have set for yourself. Are you actively taking steps toward them, or do you find yourself distracted by temptations and diversions? Stoicism teaches that the path to achieving our aspirations is paved with small, consistent acts of self-discipline. It is not about one grand gesture of willpower, but the accumulation of daily choices that reflect our commitment to growth. How can we strengthen our self-discipline in practice? Start small. Pick one area where you want to improve, whether it's sticking to an exercise routine, eating more healthily, or dedicating time to a hobby. Set achievable goals, and then gradually increase the challenge. The key is to make incremental progress, acknowledging each victory along the way. When you succeed in exercising self-discipline in one area, it becomes easier to extend that discipline to other areas of your life. Do you notice how challenging it can be to resist immediate gratification in favor of long-term rewards? Stoicism provides a framework for overcoming this challenge by reminding us to consider the bigger picture. What do you value more? A fleeting moment of comfort or a lifetime of accomplishment and personal growth? Ask yourself, when you face a temptation, ask, does this action bring me closer to or farther away from my goals? This question helps you maintain focus on what truly matters and strengthens your resolve. 5. Cultivate emotional resilience. Emotions are a natural part of the human experience, but do they have to control our actions and decisions? The Stoics believed that while we should acknowledge our emotions, we should not be governed by them. Emotional resilience, or the ability to navigate through life's storms with grace, is at the heart of Stoicism. It involves understanding our emotions, accepting them, and responding to them in a way that aligns with our virtues. Life is unpredictable, and we are often confronted with situations that provoke strong feelings: anger, sadness, fear, or frustration. What happens when you allow these emotions to dictate your behavior? Often, you end up making decisions that you later regret. The Stoics taught that while it is normal to feel such emotions, we must learn to maintain control over how we respond to them. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This statement underscores the idea that our responses to emotions are within our control, even if the external circumstances that trigger them are not. Developing emotional resilience means recognizing that while we cannot always prevent negative emotions from arising, we can choose how to handle them. How do you typically respond when you're feeling overwhelmed by emotion? Do you lash out, withdraw, or try to suppress what you feel? These reactions are common, but they are not the Stoic way. Stoicism encourages us to acknowledge our feelings without judgment and then take a step back to assess the situation. What is the true source of your emotion? Is it an external event, or is it your perception of that event? By examining the root cause of our feelings, we can gain a better understanding of our emotional patterns and triggers. This awareness is the first step toward cultivating emotional resilience. When we recognize that our emotions often arise from our own interpretations rather than the events themselves, we can begin to reframe our thoughts and respond more constructively. Building emotional resilience also involves practicing patience. When faced with a challenging situation, resist the urge to react immediately. Instead, take a moment to breathe, reflect, and choose a response that aligns with your values. This practice not only reduces the likelihood of impulsive behavior, but also strengthens your ability to remain calm and composed in future situations. Ask yourself, the next time you feel overwhelmed by emotion, pause and ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? By exploring your feelings rather than suppressing them, you can respond in a way that is true to your character. 6. Remember the transience of life. In the face of life's many uncertainties, one thing remains certain. We will all face death one day. This inevitability is not a cause for despair, but a call to live more fully. The practice of memento mori, which means remember that you will die, is a central tenet of Stoicism that encourages us to reflect on the brevity of life. By keeping death in mind, we are reminded to focus on what truly matters and to make the most of the time we have. Consider the moments in your life when you put off pursuing your dreams, reconnecting with loved ones, or expressing gratitude. How often do we postpone what is truly important, as though we have an infinite amount of time? The Stoics believed that by contemplating our mortality, we become more mindful of how we live each day. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Reflecting on death is not about becoming morbid or fearful. It is about embracing life's impermanence and using it as motivation to live with purpose. When you remember that your time is limited, you are more likely to prioritize what is meaningful and let go of trivial concerns. Ask yourself, if you knew that today was your last day, would you live any differently? What would you focus on, and what would you let go of? Memento mori helps us cultivate a sense of urgency to live authentically. It encourages us to express love, pursue our passions, and practice gratitude now, rather than waiting for some undefined future. Each moment becomes more precious when we acknowledge that it is finite. The Stoics also saw death as a natural part of the cycle of life. Epictetus taught that death should not be feared, for it is beyond our control and an inherent aspect of existence. Instead, he urged us to focus on living well while we still have time. By accepting the inevitability of death, we free ourselves from the anxiety of trying to avoid it and can instead concentrate on living a life of virtue. Ask yourself, when you reflect on the reality of your own mortality, does it change how you view your daily life? Are there things you would do differently if you truly embraced the impermanence of existence? 7. Practice gratitude. How often do you pause to appreciate the blessings in your life? It's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of more success, more comfort, more possessions, without taking the time to acknowledge what we already have. Yet, the Stoics remind us that happiness does not come from acquiring more, but from appreciating what is already within our grasp. Practicing gratitude is a cornerstone of Stoicism, as it shifts our focus from what is lacking to what is present and abundant in our lives. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This statement captures the essence of gratitude, which is to recognize the value of the simple, everyday experiences that we often overlook. Can you think of 3 things you are grateful for right now? It could be as basic as having a warm bed, a supportive friend, or even the opportunity to learn and grow. These small acknowledgements of gratitude can transform your perspective. Why is it that so many people struggle to feel content, even when they seem to have everything they need? The answer lies in our tendency to take things for granted and constantly seek more. Stoicism teaches that true contentment comes from finding satisfaction in what we already possess. The more we cultivate gratitude, the less we find ourselves longing for things that do not truly add value to our lives. But how do you practice gratitude, especially during difficult times? The Stoics believed in finding meaning even in adversity. Rather than asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" When we look for lessons within our struggles, we discover that even challenges bring blessings in disguise. This perspective not only helps us endure hardship, but also fosters a deep sense of appreciation for life's complexity. Make gratitude a daily habit. Start or end your day by reflecting on 3 things you are thankful for. They do not have to be extraordinary. In fact, some of the most profound moments of gratitude come from appreciating the simplest joys. Over time, you will notice that your mindset shifts from one of scarcity to one of abundance. The power of gratitude extends beyond ourselves. It also strengthens our relationships with others. Expressing appreciation for the people in our lives not only makes them feel valued, but also deepens our connections with them. Have you taken the time to thank someone for the positive impact they've had on your life? If not, consider doing so today. It is a small act that can have a profound effect on both you and the person you acknowledge. Ask yourself, how often do you express gratitude for the things you typically take for granted? What can you do today to appreciate the simple blessings in your life? 8. Strive for personal excellence. What does it mean to live a life of excellence? For the Stoics, excellence or virtue was the highest good and the true aim of life. It is not about perfection, but about constantly striving to become the best version of ourselves. This commitment to personal growth is what sets a meaningful life apart from a mediocre one. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." These words challenge us to embody the values we admire, to take action rather than merely contemplate what it means to live well. Do you often find yourself comparing your achievements to those of others, or feeling that you fall short of some external standard of success? Stoicism teaches us to set our own standards based on our values and aspirations, not on societal expectations or the accomplishments of others. Personal excellence begins with understanding who you are and what you stand for. What are your strengths and weaknesses? What values guide your decisions? By gaining clarity in these areas, you can set meaningful goals that align with your true self. It is not enough to wish for a better life. We must actively work towards it by consistently taking steps toward improvement. How do you respond to setbacks or failures? Do you view them as reasons to give up or as opportunities to learn and grow? The Stoics regarded adversity as a testing ground for personal development. When you face challenges, consider them as chances to build resilience, patience, and wisdom. Remember Aristotle's words: "Excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution." Each obstacle is a chance to refine your character and move closer to the life you aspire to lead. Personal excellence also requires cultivating a growth mindset, the belief that your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. When you approach life with this mindset, you see effort as a path to mastery rather than a sign of inadequacy. You become more open to challenges and more persistent in the face of setbacks, understanding that the journey is as valuable as the destination. Are you living authentically, or are you trying to conform to someone else's idea of success? The Stoics urge us to live in accordance with our own values and virtues, even when doing so is difficult. Being true to yourself involves making choices that reflect who you want to be, not just what is convenient or socially acceptable. It is about taking pride in your efforts, learning from your experiences, and never settling for mediocrity. Ask yourself, what areas of your life could benefit from a commitment to personal excellence? Are you taking consistent steps toward your goals, or are you allowing distractions to pull you off course? 9. Be true to yourself. In a world where social media and external validation often dictate how we view ourselves, how can you remain true to who you are? The Stoics teach us that true freedom and contentment come from living authentically, in alignment with our own values, rather than chasing the approval of others. Marcus Aurelius pondered this paradox, saying, "Every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinions of others." How often do you find yourself placing more weight on what others think than on what you know to be true about yourself? When you live for the approval of others, you give away your power and allow external factors to dictate your self-worth. To be true to yourself, you must first understand who you are and what you stand for. What principles guide your life? What kind of person do you want to be? By answering these questions, you lay the foundation for a life that is guided by your own values rather than by the expectations of others. Stoicism encourages us to ground our self-esteem in the virtues we practice and the effort we make to live with integrity. Living authentically means embracing your imperfections. It is not about pretending to be perfect, but about accepting yourself as a work in progress. The Stoics understood that mistakes are inevitable, but they also saw them as opportunities for growth. When you make a mistake, do you view it as a failure, or do you see it as a chance to learn and improve? By being honest with yourself about your shortcomings, you open the door to self-improvement. Do you seek validation from others, or do you find it within yourself? The Stoic approach is to seek approval not from the crowd, but from the inner conviction that you are living a life true to your principles. Epictetus advised that we should not let the opinions of others deter us from living virtuously. Worrying about what others think is outside our control, while living with integrity is within our grasp. Ask yourself, are you living your life according to your own values, or are you trying to fit into a mold that someone else has set for you? What steps can you take to be more authentic and true to yourself? 10. Embrace change as a natural part of life. If there is one certainty in life, it is that things will change. The Stoics understood this well, seeing change not as something to fear, but as a natural aspect of the universe's flow. By accepting change as inevitable, we free ourselves from the stress of trying to hold on to what is impermanent. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny for what could more aptly fit your needs." These words suggest that change is not only unavoidable, but essential for our growth. When we resist change, we create tension within ourselves, clinging to the familiar even when it no longer serves us. But when we embrace change, we open ourselves to new experiences and possibilities. Consider how you respond to change. Do you see it as a threat, or do you view it as an opportunity to learn and adapt? The Stoic approach teaches that while we cannot always control the changes that occur, we can control our attitudes toward them. By focusing on how we respond, rather than trying to prevent change, we cultivate a mindset of resilience. Ask yourself, how do you typically react to changes in your life? Do you resist them, or do you embrace them as opportunities for growth? 11. Foster compassion and empathy. In a world that often emphasizes competition, individual success, and self-interest, where does compassion fit in? For the Stoics, compassion and empathy were essential components of living a virtuous life. They believed in the interconnectedness of all people, recognizing that we are all part of the larger human family. To live in harmony with others, we must cultivate understanding and care for those around us. Marcus Aurelius once said, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." This simple yet profound statement reminds us that our well-being is inherently linked to the well-being of others. When we act with compassion, we contribute not only to the happiness of those we help, but also to our own inner peace. Have you ever experienced the joy that comes from helping someone in need or being present for a friend in a difficult time? These moments are not only meaningful for the recipient, but also for the giver. But what does it truly mean to practice compassion and empathy in the Stoic sense? It begins with the recognition that everyone is fighting their own battles. As Epictetus advised, we should strive to understand others' perspectives, acknowledging that their actions may be driven by struggles we cannot see. This does not mean that we must condone harmful behavior, but it does mean approaching others with a mindset of empathy, seeking to understand rather than judge. How often do we rush to conclusions about others based on superficial impressions or limited information? Stoicism encourages us to pause and consider the broader context of a person's behavior. When someone acts unkindly, it may be a reflection of their own inner turmoil rather than a personal attack. By approaching others with empathy, we create opportunities for connection, healing, and understanding. Have you ever found yourself in a disagreement where you felt misunderstood or unfairly judged? It's likely that the other person felt the same way. Imagine if, instead of reacting defensively, you chose to listen actively, genuinely trying to understand their point of view. This approach not only fosters better communication, but also strengthens relationships. The Stoic approach to empathy does not involve sacrificing your principles, but finding common ground that can lead to mutual growth. Compassion also means being there for others in times of need. It is not limited to grand gestures. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness can make the biggest difference. Whether it is offering a listening ear, a word of encouragement, or simply acknowledging someone's feelings, your actions can have a profound impact. When was the last time you extended a small act of kindness to someone without expecting anything in return? Aristotle spoke of friendship as an essential component of a fulfilling life, emphasizing that true friends support each other in both joy and sorrow. This idea aligns well with Stoic principles, as compassion and empathy strengthen the bonds that make life meaningful. When we treat others with understanding, we create a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves, fostering a more compassionate world. Ask yourself, how often do you make an effort to understand someone else's perspective? What small act of kindness can you perform today to make a positive difference in someone else's life? 12. Reflect regularly. In today's fast-paced world, how often do you take time to pause and reflect on your life? The Stoics placed immense value on the practice of regular reflection as a means of aligning one's actions with their deepest values. For them, introspection was not just a periodic exercise, but a daily habit that ensured they lived in accordance with their virtues. Marcus Aurelius, who is known for his personal writings in Meditations, practiced daily reflection to examine his life, his actions, and his thoughts. He did not view this practice as a mere routine, but as a crucial part of living a life of purpose. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This statement highlights the connection between self-reflection and the quality of one's existence. By regularly examining our thoughts, behaviors, and attitudes, we gain insight into what brings us true fulfillment and what leads us astray. Do you often find yourself reacting to situations without fully understanding why you feel or act a certain way? Regular reflection helps us gain clarity on these patterns, allowing us to identify areas for improvement. It enables us to learn from our mistakes and recognize where we have acted in alignment with our values or where we have strayed. Epictetus advised his students to end each day with a review of their actions, asking themselves, what did I do well? What did I do wrong? What duties have I left undone? This simple practice can have profound effects on one's life. It encourages honesty, self-compassion, and continuous growth. When was the last time you took a few moments to reflect on your day, not with the intent to criticize, but to learn and improve? Reflection is not about dwelling on our shortcomings, but about recognizing them as opportunities for growth. When you examine your actions, you may notice patterns that hold you back, such as negative thinking, procrastination, or avoidance of difficult tasks. By bringing these patterns into your awareness, you empower yourself to make deliberate changes. How can you incorporate reflection into your daily life? Start by setting aside a few minutes each day, preferably in the evening, to consider the events of the day. Write down your thoughts in a journal, or simply meditate on the questions that come to mind. What went well? What challenges did you face? How did you respond to them? Over time, you will find that this habit of reflection becomes a source of strength and guidance. Regular reflection also involves expressing gratitude for the positive aspects of your day. When you acknowledge what went well, you reinforce a mindset of appreciation and abundance. This practice can help balance our natural tendency to focus on the negative, allowing us to maintain a more positive outlook on life. Self-reflection is not a solitary endeavor. The Stoics believed that discussing one's experiences with a trusted friend or mentor can provide valuable insights. When we share our reflections, we open ourselves to new perspectives and gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. Have you ever benefited from discussing a challenge with someone who offered a different viewpoint that helped you see things in a new light? Ask yourself, how often do you take time to reflect on your actions and decisions? What can you learn from your experiences today, And how can you apply that knowledge to improve tomorrow? The principles of Stoicism provide us with timeless wisdom that is just as relevant today as it was over 2,000 years ago. From focusing on what we can control to embracing obstacles, living in the present moment, practicing self-discipline, and fostering compassion, these teachings guide us toward a life filled with resilience, virtue, and fulfillment. They remind us that true happiness is not found in external achievements, but in how we navigate the world with a clear mind and a compassionate heart. Each of these 12 principles serves as a stepping stone toward immediate life transformation. They are not merely abstract concepts, but practical strategies that can be implemented in everyday life. By focusing on what we can control, we gain a sense of empowerment. By embracing change, we become adaptable and resilient. Through regular reflection, we ensure that our actions align with our values. Call to action. I encourage you to take these principles and apply them to your own life. Begin with one, practice it consistently, and gradually incorporate the others. Reflect on your experiences, share your insights, and watch how your life transforms. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Which Stoic principle resonates with you the most? How do you plan to integrate these teachings into your daily life? Your experiences can inspire others who are on the same path. If you found value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with future content that delves deeper into Stoicism and life transformation. Let's continue this journey together, supporting one another as we strive to live more virtuous and meaningful lives. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on these teachings with me. I wish you strength, wisdom, and peace as you navigate life's challenges. Until we meet again, remember, it's not the applause that matters, but the cause of becoming the best version of yourself.